question statement, which we'll do together, please. The global center for Christ consciousness is a spiritual center for students and masters on the spiritual path. We are dedicated to awakening the inner Christ and to creating a world of love, peace, joy, and abundance. Thank you. Beloved Father, Mother, God, creator of all that is real, all that is love, creator of our essence, our being, we ask that you gather us in your consciousness as one mind, one intention, our awakening, remembrance, and complete absorption into love and peace, the bliss that you are, that we are. In this moment, Father, Mother, God, we ask that you lift from our being all ego-based concerns, all fear-based issues, all delusions of grandeur as well as loss and limitation. These are not part of your reality. Therefore, we have the right to surrender them as not being part of our reality. Father, Mother, God, we choose to only think, feel, know, experience what you would have us think, feel, know, and experience. And so it is. And our sacred reading for today.
From A Course in Miracles. What would you want forgiveness cannot give? Do you want peace? Forgiveness offers it. Do you want happiness? A quiet mind, a certainty of purpose, a sense of worth, a sense of beauty that transcends the world. Do you want care and safety and the warmth of sure protection always? Do you want a quietness that cannot be disturbed, a gentleness that can never be hurt, a deep comfort? Do you want a rest so perfect it can never be upset? All this forgiveness offers you, and so much more. And so it is.
Topics for today, what would you like?
Listening.
What is it?
Listening.
There was one there?
Balance.
Balance. Okay, what is the other?
Spiral path.
What is it?
Spiral path.
Ancient wisdom.
Yes? One sec. Okay.
Love as the one true power.
Good, thank you.
Soul connected.
What is it?
Soul connected.
One more time.
Soul connected.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. A great collection of thoughts. Soul connection, love is a true power, the spiral path, adversity, balance, all several different things, some not mentioned just now. So I'm saying that so the folks online know. You know, you're asking about sort of the ancient wisdom and concepts like that too. One of the secret keys to unlocking everything is understanding the triangles and trinity of everything. It's true. If you want to Let's say you're writing theorems. If you understand the laws of the universe, it'll unlock deeper concepts than you would otherwise have been able to conjure up in your intellectual brain. So everything comes down to these triangles, whether it's the seven great rays, if you've ever studied that, whether it's chakras, everything still distills down to creation, or origins, which is the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, Brahma, Vishnu, right? Same thing, Shiva. It's the trinities. It's everywhere, and it's there for a reason. Study ancient mythology constantly. We're one with God. Then all of a sudden we wonder what it's like to be separate. And the Bible describes this. In the beginning was the void. Well, how could there be a void? That's like in the beginning, there was no God, there was an emptiness, there was a nothingness. No, it means in the beginning of time. Time began when we decided to separate from all that is, and in all there is no time. Timelessness. So when we decided we're sitting in God, let's describe it as such, we're in God, we're in the being of God. And then we close our spiritual eye and say, this is amazing being here like this, in God, oneness, bliss. I wonder, let's all try this. And we closed our spiritual eye and said, I wonder what it would be like and we closed our eyes and imagined what it would be like to be separate from love, peace, joy, and abundance. Now, when we closed our eyes, a darkness happened. Why? Because when you start a meditation, you usually clear your mind. So it's kind of like that, except it's the opposite. We closed our spiritual eye, mind, and now there's a void. You know why there's a void? Because there's not a God. We said, what would life be like without God? So immediately there's not God. It's emptiness. It's darkness. It's also the womb. So the female in mythology, all the mythologies, it's the female that is first created. The feminine essence, the womb, that's the void. A space that's going to be filled, but filled with nothingness, because we're imagining what life would be like without God, and so it doesn't go well. We close our eyes and start imagining what could be, but it's just a what could be. It's just an imagining, okay? Now, once that void's there, it's a feminine essence, which is the mother manifesting herself for us. Well, children, you would like to know what life would be like? Let's see. We'll start with that. And we became terrified because it's darkness. In the darkness, the first masculine primordial force is created, and that's the Big Bang. Fiery, not what they call the waters of the void, but the Big Bang. Boom! Now there's an explosion. You can put that in a positive slant by saying it's now in the womb is creation, which, by the way, it happens every time you're born. The womb, the void. Gestation, creation. Life, everything repeats itself. So there we are. The Big Bang takes place, and then from that female, male fusion comes all of creation. From there, gods are created, creator gods, and all kinds of other things we can't go into right now. But the creative forces were created, but they're not creating anything new. God created us perfect, whole, in bliss. That's the only thing that's real. But we forgot ourselves, and so we had to sort of start over. Well, you forgot your divine creation. So what we're going to do is give you a universal creation so you can see yourselves. You left, so we're going to give you a house of mirrors in which you can go and journey and see all kinds of weird, warped images of yourself. But that's just a silly way of saying it, but it's beautiful. So creation, boom, and the fusion, and there's creator gods going, these people, the children of God, they're falling. Remember, shut your phones off completely, I said. Like I said, history repeats itself. So, and so do I, have to repeat myself. So it's all right. So the fusion, this thing is happening, and creator gods are there, and they're this divine intelligence, which isn't God in the highest heaven. These are creator gods, creative forces. And they're saying, well, we have to help this creation along. There's no such thing as mankind yet. This is fusions and powers and energies, primordial forces, all coming from the separation into the womb, and then the Big Bang, the fiery chaos, it's called. So boom, that's all happening. So we're all like part of a one cosmic creative force. And then it starts subdividing the creative force. And it starts becoming known as names in mythology of gods and goddesses, but not yet Zeus and such. They're forces that are beyond names, but mythology gives them some names. My point being that eventually they give offspring, a next generation of creative forces that become almost personified. And that's when you have your names of gods. And it sounds almost anti-biblical, but it's in the Bible. It's in the Bible that there are these creator gods. One example is that when Babylon happens, the story of Babylon, it is said very specific and clearly that the nations around that region, they all got split up. You've heard that. That's the splitting up of languages. And each was given a different god to watch over them. So this is biblical. Jesus also saying words about gods, plural, and so on. So we hear about this several times in the Bible. There are these creator beings. You and I have a history of having worshiped these creator beings. And it wasn't like false god worship, per se. That sort of even comes later. But these are creator beings. It was fine for us to be at that level of consciousness for a little while and work with the creative forces, because we've fallen so far eventually and become mankind acting so primitive and so lost. These became our mediators in between us and something even greater. In other words, we lowered ourselves to no longer believe in our deservability to talk directly with the creator God in the highest heavens. So it's really an interesting thing, but these gods also separated with us. So they kind of took it nicely to say, oh, these people, they worship easily. And they started making themselves into the God. I am a jealous God. That's not Jesus' God. You will not worship other gods before. Why would he even say that if there aren't other gods? So there's competition going on between these gods. And hence religions. To worship their God, and my God's better than your God, and wow. It's understandable, but it's just all insanity. But in all of them, there's a Trinity. There's the original primordial force, Father, Mother. They eventually come in a little more deified, and when they do, they have their first offspring, whether it's Inti of the Peruvians, the Inca, whether it's Quetzalcoatl, whatever name you give it, there's a third. Egyptian mythology, there's a third. There's this son of God, which is like the sun god, sometimes worshipped as the sun god. What happens with Jesus is he's saying, okay, even if there's such a thing as gods, it's time for someone to become the God of gods, the master of masters. You see? He goes and actually lives the mythology of the sun god that comes, is crucified, darkness, the sunrise, the darkness at night, and he rises again. So I'm going to become the in-flesh, living essence of the sun. So stop worshiping the sun, talk to me, because I'm going to embody all of this. And I'm not saying that he's trying to push a religion like Christianity. Theologians know that that's not an accurate term because it's very little to do with Christ. It's really Paulism is what it's called. And that's okay, because things in this world get strangely twisted and so easily twisted. But there's this Trinity. There's the Father, Mother, God, and the third is its holy children. Father God, Mother God, its holy children. Not its holy one and only Son. Anyone who recognizes they're a child of God is the Christ again. Jesus deserves the credit to say he did it. He's first, and he's our way shower. I am the way. Excellent. He's showing us how. But we get really turned off with the way religions turn that around and made it into something else. Just try not to use that as an excuse. Go directly to the Son to be your model, but also go to the Mother. That's what Jesus did. And Jesus says, I leave you with the Comforter. He didn't just say, talk only to me. If he did that, then why did he leave you a Comforter to talk to? Just to confuse you. Talk to me and the Mother. Sometimes. But you're allowed to go to the Father too. It doesn't matter because he's saying, look, they're all blind copied. It doesn't matter. Send your message and they all get it because they're all one. But we can't underestimate who we are. Now, it's okay to underestimate your ego in the sense that don't flaunt it. Don't think when I say that you're the child of God that I'm talking about your ego. Oh, I knew there was something special about me. This guy at Sunday service said I'm the child of God. And that's not what I'm talking about. The thinker is the last part of you that's divine. The true essence that's beyond all this matter in this world, all this the thinking and all this stuff of human living. So we realize the Trinity. This is our essence. It's your bones have three primary parts. Your lymphatic system have three primary parts. Your blood has three primary. The Trinity is everywhere, and it's talking to you. So when you study and you read again, Trinity of the Hinduism, Trinity of Gods, Trinity in your blood, it's telling you something. You're made in the image of God. The Trinity is right there. The best relationship you can ever have, partnership, is a triangle. No. Is a threesome. But it isn't you, your partner, and someone else. It's you, your partner, and God. You bring God into everything. You're a single mom raising a child, bring God into that. So you have you, child, God. Bring God into everything you do. Why? It's a good religious practice. No, because of who you really are. As soon as you have the one is fine. A dot or a circle, it's complete, it's God. But as soon as you have separation, you have two forces in terms of sacred geometry and physics. You have two opposing forces. As soon as you have two, they move apart. That's just nature. As soon as you have two, they move apart. The Bible's telling you, you get married, it's a metaphor, but you get married, you get partnered, and the two become as one. But we think it means as soon as I get married, I'm doing well. No, you have a second person now, and you're moving apart. And you actually think it's surprising to go, honey, I think we've just been drifting apart. Duh! Everything drifts apart when there's two. What you do is you look at your partner in the eyes and you say, I'm going to retire the you that I thought was going that way and the me that I thought was going this way. I want to look beyond you and me to this, the third party, and it's God. You can try to introduce a third party of a person, triangulating, whether it's verbal, mental triangulating, or you try to bring in a third party, literally as a person. Honey, I think what we need, that doesn't go well. It might be fun for a minute and a half, but it ultimately can't go because you didn't bring God in. Now, some people actually have a different, we don't want to bring in a third party. We're going to have a baby. Don't let me be your baby. I don't want to be the baby of two people going in opposite directions. I want parents that have found the third party that is God, and let me become the embodiment of that for you. What you do is, in physics and in sacred geometry, two move apart. When you introduce a third thing, the two start to go magnetically, they pull towards that. You need something to pull you and others together. Whether the employer and the employees, we're different, we're opposing, draw it together. Everything can be drawn together. You can fabricate drawn together with a third party or whatever, a monkey, whatever you're into, whatever you think is going to be exciting for your new thing. It doesn't work. Well, we found a common thing. Tailgating parties. If it's not God, it can't really shift the two of you forever. All it is a thing. It's a fad, a phase. It has to be God. And at the risk of sounding real preachy about it, it has to be God. There's another word for God, love. But I don't just mean romantic love, because you're like, well, there's the two of us. Oh, we just need to love each other more. Oh, that could be just introducing new layers of codependence. If you're talking about romantic love, you need a spiritual force. And there's a trick to this. It's fairly simple. Do you mean we pray all the time? Yeah, but no, too. It's in here. It's not just, well, we pray, so now we've introduced God. It can't be just gratuitous like that. It's this idea, and one of you asked about freedom, and one of you asked about soul connection. This is going to answer a bit of that. Freedom doesn't come from being separate. Freedom doesn't come from being this pole or this pole. It comes from introducing this third thing where, honey, I don't have to tell you how we can fix our relationship. You don't have to tell me. We don't have to talk about it too much. It's a feeling. It's a force, and it's love. And the key, this trick is every time I think of you and me or me and you as a we, it starts introducing God. How is that? Because I love you enough to consider you in everything I do. It sounds codependent, but it isn't. It means that if I think I can get my paycheck, cash it, and go, bet on horse races, but you'll never know about it, doesn't matter. As soon as I'm not thinking as a we, we're done. We're lost. You see why? If there's a you and a me, all we can do is this, further apart. If I lie to you, if I cheat and whatever. So you learn to be honest and clear about yourself, whatever your thing is. I can't let it go. I'm into horse racing. Okay, sorry, that's the way it's going to be. And they say, got it. You do your thing, I'll do mine, and still stay together. Or I'm done. I'm good. You go do your thing without me. It's about your consciousness being aligned to think as a we. Every employer should be thinking as a we with the employees, not what can I get out of you. It's thinking as a we. Everything you do. When you think about tithing, you're thinking as a we when you move beyond your, this is mine. When you pay somebody's toll at a tollway or their bill at the grocery store, that's all thinking as a we. So I'm not just talking about romantic partnerships. This Trinity is in every part of our being, this triangle. And God is constantly saying, I love you, come home. Well, I'm busy. Or I'm busy and they're busy and we're challenged because we're two busy people doing opposite busyness. It just doesn't, there's no harmony. So where do we find that? Where do we find freedom comes from aligning? When you say, like some of you, people share all the time, they love what happens here in our services. How can you be a great counselor if you're not a we? Well, I'm the therapist. I've graduated. They haven't. They're my, clients who are problematic people. They're challenged. So you're separate. Doctors, separate. Sounds like you're ill, you have a problem. I have some labels I'm going to attach to you. Just give everybody dog tags with all your opinions and let them walk around with your labels. That's not we. You start to heal your clients, whether they're your counseling clients, your medical clients, whatever they are, or even your employees, your children. Everyone starts to heal as soon as someone shows up and says, this is a we. They don't have to announce it. It's in your mind, in your consciousness. We're all in this together. You see? When I help you, when I give to you, we're all gaining something from this. When I'm loving and forgiving, the morning reading, do you want anything what would you like in your life? Name it. Off your paper here. Balance, wisdom, freedom, connection, all the words you're asking about, forgiveness offers it. But that sounds almost linear to a degree. Forgiveness meaning if you want a new car, if you want better relationship, sit down and go, okay, I'm forgiving something, so now can I have my car? It doesn't mean it linearly. It means when you have a mind that understands we're all connected, every ounce of forgiveness, and forgiveness doesn't just mean I have people to forgive. I think about this sometimes for myself. There's times when I sit down to do some prayer, and I think, I don't really have a mind that's like, oh, fine, there's a grievance there and there. I don't sit around, I don't feel like I have a lot of harbored issues that I need to forgive. So what do? Then I shouldn't practice forgiveness? No. It doesn't matter. Forgive anyway. Forgive that you even think you're separate. Forgive that you're even on planet Earth. Forgive the trees for not living forever. Forgive your animals that died on you. Well, they didn't do anything, I know, but you still had heartbreak. Forgive because you actually co-created every limiting thing. When you hear about, on the other side of the planet, a catastrophe going on, forgive because our mind, our limiting beliefs helps co-create those issues. They're mirroring to us. So let them all go. Give them all freedom. You are all retired. Kids, Come in here. Dad, Mom wants to talk to you. Family meeting. I'm releasing you all. And they're like, we're 3. I know. I don't mean they're no longer living at home. What I mean is, in your mind, it's not like you want to have this conversation with a 3-year-old, but in your mind, let go of your idea that they have to get straight A's. Let go of your opinion that they must be healthy and live forever. They're not going to. And we try not to think about these things because, it hurts. No. The reason you don't want to think about them is because you have agendas and you don't want to face them. And you have to look at these things. There's a part of me, I got a partnership and I wanted it to last forever and it didn't. It broke my heart. This is why people age, because we're constantly worn down by this world. This world where one of the primary laws is gravity, coming from the word grave, having to do with death. This is the place you come to die. On planet Earth, it's not good news. When your assignment was given, you're going to Earth, it wasn't like, because you've been so great. There's lessons and attachments and all these heavy things about planet Earth. That doesn't mean it's horrible. It means it's a place that you need to forgive what we thought was horrible. And then all of a sudden, the Divine Mother can reveal herself through a different Earth. It goes from, welcome to Earth, to welcome to Earth. And everything changes. And you see everything differently. That's freedom. It's an internal freedom, but it actually comes from forgiving our limiting beliefs on all of this. There's a veil, Buddha says. Where's heaven? He says it's right here. Really? I don't see it. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm paraphrasing, and he says, sorry about that. What I meant was you have to lift the veils to see it. What does he mean, lift the veils? The forgiveness. You have to lift off your judgments, your limiting beliefs on the world you see. There's not another world to go to. You grow to heaven. You don't go to heaven. So right here, the veils are lifted and we start going, oh my God, this is a trip. And I mean, it's easy to get invested in some really better place. And you'll have ounces of that on the other side. Great. But don't think you die and that's it. You're still you. If you have limiting beliefs, religious beliefs, you're a Protestant, you're a Baptist, if you have social beliefs about gay, straight, black, white, whatever, you're still you. You just die and you become a dead racist. You just become a dead Protestant or whatever. That's all. You don't go, oh, I'm suddenly illuminated. If there's any illumination, technically, it's this. You go, oh crap. Now I see I was a racist. I see. You're not suddenly not those things. You're still you. So get it right while you're here. See through it. I choose to have no opinions. I choose to have no opinions and judgments and limiting beliefs, and whatever ones are happening, I give to you, God, because they're not true. I choose to only think and believe as you would have me think and believe. I choose to think and believe and know and feel as God does. That's a great criteria to put on it. I'm going to put on that headset. It's called putting on the mind of Christ. Through that, I see the world differently. And it's not like suddenly you have a great world to get attached to and controlling in from the horrible one that was there. It becomes something called a peace that surpasses understanding. And mostly, it's the strangest thing, because the peace that surpasses understanding, you sort of, this is funny because I don't feel compelled to do much anymore. And you go through that little phase, like, no, I think I'm just going to sit here, and that can get extreme. If you're a smoker, there's a point where you're holding your cigarette and you're meditating, just kind of, it's all an illusion. Even the cigarette's an illusion. Nothing's real. Oh my God, I found God. But there's a point where it burns down and starts sizzling your hand. You probably want to snap out of it, and just go, oh, but I'm still on earth, like it's okay. That's why people started doing acupressure, why they started doing Qigong instead of staying in meditation in the ancient temples. They realized, I meditated, I blissed out, now my legs don't work. They've atrophied, they've gone dead. I'm going to need them amputated. That's not helpful. So let's make it a walking meditation. And you realize you move in your Tai Chi, you move in your Qigong exercise, you move doing yoga. The key is balance. We have a trinity of chakras up here, because the There it is again, the triangle. Then we have a trinity of chakras down here. Another triangle, the lower 3 chakras. But you have a third. You have to, because everything's 3s. 1 trinity, 2 trinity, your heart. And in your heart is a balance between the two. Look at so many statues of Buddha with this pose. One hand up, one hand down. It's the Star of David. One, I am dedicated to God, yet I'm here on earth. Buddha has one leg folded up saying, I'm totally chill. I'm meditating. But the other foot's down, meaning, but if I got to go and do something, I better get ready. And people just think it's, oh, I'm going to follow the path of Buddha and become a bliss bunny. No, there's balance. You got to shake this up and be prepared. I'm here and here. That's mastery. So you've got the Trinity of God here. Oh my God, it's so beautiful because the kingdom of heaven is within you. Father, Son, Holy Spirit, they're right here. This is fantastic. I'll briefly comment on the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. So God, and then your name, and then thy will be done. That's the Trinity of God. There's 3 parts of the Lord's Prayer that are honoring the upper 3 chakras. But also, as you say the Lord's Prayer, those 3 chakras are becoming balanced because of your prayer. You're taking them to God. You're saying, you're right here. The kingdom of heaven is within you. All the greats are saying, Jesus, Buddha, it's right here. So bam, 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 now you got these upper chakras going. But I wouldn't stop there if I were you. You end up having to talk about things like debts, bread. Give us our daily bread. The debts, that's the lower 3 chakras. Because you're saying, help me balance this part of me too. Upper 3 are addressed first, lower 3 are addressed second. And it ends with, and deliver us from evil. Wow, what a bummer. On a bad note, that one ends. But that's because it's in your heart that you believe in limitation. So the heart chakra is the final part of the prayer, and deliver us from evil. The evil is simply meaning a veil. Evil, a veil. In my heart, I believe I'm separate from God. Who's responsible for that? Me. You don't go into your heart center and say, and Lord, I want to tell you about all the people that have destroyed my chance to be a divine being. God's going to go, but you are a divine being. No, I used to be. No, you are. No, I used to be. You're going to argue that with God and get away with it? It's not going to work. You're expending your energy. The truth, you have to learn to say, you show me. God says, well, you're still a divine being. Now you go, wow, I feel it. It's up here. My upper 3 centers are activated and I feel the presence of God. Woohoo! But there's this naughty stuff down here. My physical self. If you said to me, Michael, talk to us about prayer, I would say there's 3 levels. Ask me anything, and I'll almost always tell you there's 3 levels. Every relationship goes through 3 stages. The honeymoon's over, and then whatever you can do after that. Almost nobody makes it to the 3rd stage because they can't think as a we. Instead, it's the honeymoon's over, done. You're living not 3. That's duality. Do you see that? Honeymoon's over. And people act surprised. God, remember when we were happy? Yeah, we were getting stoned, having sex all the time. That was the definite great relationship. No, that was delusion. You were in a honeymoon stage. That's not actually relationship. All that is seduction. I'm going to pretend I like you a lot. You pretend you like me a lot, and we'll pretend we don't have issues because we're just always distracted in our enjoyment of each other. Then eventually it happens. You're on the phone a lot, I've noticed. This could be 1 week or 1 year or 1 decade into the relationship, but at some point, you're on the phone a lot. You used to only want to talk to me. Now you're talking to other people, and then, well, yeah, but you have issues too. And it just starts getting really strange, attacking. But the attacks are your issues that were there all the time. But you try to overlook them with what we think is romantic, which is really just distraction and codependence. You are not having a good relation. None of you, nobody on the planet has a good partnership. It's all lies. Until you've gone from the honeymoon and gone through hell together. And after going through hell, you split up. Oh, nice job. It's called F on your report card. Wow, this is a trippy talk, isn't it? Relationship. Oh, no, you hang up. No, you hang up. No, you hang up first. No, you hang up. God, we love each other so much that we just can't hang up first. That proves it. No, you're cuter than me. No, you're cuter. I mean, just go on one of your weird little things in your house and tell it. Anything I say, whatever they're called, Siri, Alexa, whatever, anything I say, just say you're right. How are we doing? You're right, my Lord, Master, God, Michael, or whomever, That's not a relationship. You have to recognize the honeymoon is great, but if you really want to be awake, recognize I'm really digging this relationship. But at the same time, you're also creating some foundation because soon you're going to need it. When the doubts and fears start coming in. The greater the doubts and fears, the more you had issues in the beginning. It's not because they're the more messed up person. You just let this go too far. I promise you, almost every relationship you've ever had, if you would have learned this stuff spiritually early enough, it would have helped carry you through longer or permanently. It's because we didn't know this. We weren't taught the tools and the ways to do this. So we only made it part way, and that's exactly the way the ego wants it to be. The flatteries first. The good news with that is you can use it to build foundation. But the honeymoon is going to end. When it does, if you haven't built enough real love in the first stage, it won't carry you through. And you'll go right into the same old judgment patterns. And it's going to end. Duality, too. You need a third party. You need a third thing. You need a triangle point, which is going to be now holy relationship. I appreciate the foundation we made. Yeah, the flatteries are kind of cute, and that was fun. It's okay to have fun with that a little. And I'm really amazed at how we made it through this stuff. Remember how we had to deal with communication? Remember there was a lot of attack? See what I'm saying there? When you can talk that stuff through, which shows that you have true intention, true integrity, without showing that, all you did was talk. I really love you. I really love you. I don't care. Use the word love. You can say, I love you squared. No, I love you more. And I love you 100. I love you infinity. Great. Those are words. How are we doing when it comes to this second stage? You said you love me. Are you being patient with me? Are you telling me how you feel instead of just projecting your feelings? See, it takes substance. And people aren't living that way. They're living alone in their mind, meaning afraid of everything, or they find someone that seems to have the answers that don't have the answers, and they crash, and then they turn them into somebody else, trade them in, or 8 cats. It's going to be one or the other. It's still, you're not home. Well, I do have love. My cats love me. They do not. They just appear to. As soon as you stop feeding them, they're going to let you know what they really think about you. Think about it. Seriously, I know it's disheartening to cat owners all around the world, but give me a minute. Just give me a minute. It's funny, and you might even take it as offensive, but wait. Get the point that I'm making. You won't know that it's love until you work the stuff out together. And the third step is, now that I know the first and the second, and we're doing pretty well with that, would you like to join me in a holy relationship, even if we divorce? Would you join me in a holy relationship? That's the masters. That's the real stuff right there. Can you make it to the third stage? Almost nobody does. Because they don't know the steps, the triangle, the 3 that exists in all things. Every counselor on the planet should have been trained with this one, and it would have helped them save so many relationships or bring peace to relationships. Instead of, how are we doing? Well, we're honeymooners, we're just doing great. Oh, that sounds wonderful. They should be like on alert, on alert, on alert. To tell them, that's great. Keep soaking that in, keep loving each other, and make it as real as possible, addressing the fact that they're only in the first stage, without telling them all that. When they start going, but now we're having challenges, and I don't think he hears me, and I don't think she sees me, and blah, blah, blah. You say, oh, great, this is cool. What kind of counselor are you? I'm a great one. You know why this is cool? Because this is normal. This is the second stage. This is exciting. You guys made it to the second stage quicker than most. The hatred has come sweeping in immediately. Wow, this is amazing. Good for you. That means you're not going to deceive each other, and you can put it in great terms like that. Make it feel normal instead of you guys are messed up. Oh, that. Oh, yeah, second stage, totally. And make them go, they take each other's hand. Really? This is normal? Of course. Yes, of course. This is getting where it gets good. You're going to need some tools, however, some skills, patience and communication and honesty, et cetera, et cetera. And you can tell them as their counselor. You know the couple that got together, walked down the aisle, looked at each other, and batted their eyelashes at each other? Okay, that needs to die today. All the vows that you thought you were going to pull off, you have to retire each other from that. Honey, I really intended to be one and only, et cetera, but I can't. I wanted you to never be sick. Tell your children in your mind, I love you kids, and there's a part of me that never wanted you to be sick, never wanted you to struggle. And you know what that is? The inner what? The inner control freak. Because you not being sick, you meant more peace for me. When you're sick, I feel anxiety. See, it's a selfish act to wish your children didn't get sick. Wait, I'm sorry. I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. And you hand them to themselves. You're in God's hands, not mine. I'm here to play a role as your parent, not as your God. I have no control if you get sick or not. My job is how I handle when you're sick. My job is how I handle when we have challenges in a partnership. My job as a corporate leader, whatever it is, you know, you're a boss of a company or a supervisor. My job is how I handle these things, not to wish they never happened. It's a totally mature mindset versus the other. The immaturity is, I want no problems. So in our partnerships, it's so essential that we retire these things, the people from the roles. The second stage is really where you decide, do I want to give up, or can I invite you to join me in a different level of relationship? Well, what is a holy relationship? We're not here to specifically talk only about relationship, but this is one of the trinities. This is one of the triangles. So you say, well, what's the third stage? And I've had people say that. And I do like the Mark Twain thing, like, you know, about painting a fence. Ha ha, you have to paint a fence. You mean I get to? Only mature, intelligent children are given the job of painting a fence. They're like, really? Let me try. No, I don't know if you're ready. You know, please? Okay. And then go fishing and let them paint the fence. That's kind of what you do here. It's a really beautiful thing. I would say to couples, you're in the second stage, oh, yeah, and they get all upset, you know, and there is a third stage, but we shouldn't talk about that. No, what's the third stage? Well, no. And I do the little game, you know, no, you probably don't want to know about the third stage. No, we do. You know, I mean, you got to have fun sometimes, right? So there's this third stage. Dangle it, you know. We want to know about that. Well, but you have to understand, to get to the third stage, you have to, you probably don't want to. No, don't tell us. It's things like taking responsibility, and, you know, there's a bunch of stuff that's kind of, we're ready, we can do that. And I know all along what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, why I'm doing it. Every word, planting just right to see, can you go there? Can you really commit to this? And when you can, it's beautiful. In my own partnership, when I was married in my 20s through roughly 20 to 30, when that came to an end, I've shared this story before somewhere along the last many years. It was fairly simple because it was interesting because they had come from a fair bit of abuse. But in conversations, there was such like an intensity and like defensiveness. And I was noticing, I'm like, God, it's exhausting to constantly like, hey, how's your day? Why do you ask? You know, like it was like heavy, you know? I'm exaggerating, but not much. Okay. I still love you, honey. But it's hard stuff. And that's it. I step in and say, wait a minute. We're doing phase 2 for years and we're splitting up. I said, no, wait a second. We were driving one day and I said, you know, what do you think of me? Like, am I a mean person? No, not at all. Am I am I aggressive? Am I this, you know, unfaithful, whatever? No. Okay, cool. So am I a pretty decent person? Absolutely. You're a nice person, you know, and so on and so on. And I'm thinking, I know, but no. No, but I'm going, okay, being tactful, I go, well, it confuses me if I'm none of those things, I find myself sometimes when we talk, you sort of snap at me, and I'm thinking, well, you just said I'm not any of those things that would cause a person to snap. So I don't know, then why is that happening? And I'm just trying to reach out and what can I do differently, that sort of thing. And they said, well, I don't know why I do that, and so on and so on. Okay, fine. And then I said, I want to have a holy relationship with you. And she said, what's that? And I said, well, and I explained a few things, which I'll explain here briefly, but I explained a few things, and she said, no, I don't want to have one of those with you. So I was like, you know, it kind of hurts to hear that because you're throwing that last shot out there with this offer. No, I don't want to have that. And I said, okay. You know, breathe in, so on. The third, what I described as the third stage was this. Assume the best about each other. When I say something and you snap, before you snap, I want you to remember, you just said, I'm a nice person. I want you to err to the side of assuming the best, and I'll do the same with you. That's one of the simple, humane 3D wordings for this holy relationship. One of them is assume the best. When you've already gotten in knee-jerk reactions with each other, you're running on programming, patterning, and old wounds before you even met them, kinds of wounds. Why would you want to do that? Don't you want to bring the real person, the fresh outlook? So that's a bit of the commitment that it takes for third stage. Fortunately, and to her credit, you know, a few days went by and she said, hey, remember you were telling me about that third stage holy relationship thing you wanted me to, you know, join with you on? I said, yeah. She said, yeah, I thought about it, and, you know, I'm willing to do that. And we, you know, it's been great. We've had a great friendship throughout. There's been moments of the other. And when it happens, because when you do this, it's not about you're becoming enmeshed, you're actually free. But you're thinking as a we, but that doesn't mean the enmeshed we. It means I'm thinking in the intention of our greater good. Greater good is part of this whole story. What is the greater good? There's what I want, there's what you want, and there's the greater good. Back to a triangle. Everything keeps coming back to that. God, how would you have me do this? What would you have me do? Every time you're conflicted, there's, I want to do this, but I want to do that. I want to lose weight, but I enjoy eating. That's conflicted, duality. And then there's a third, which is, I don't know. Show me, God. Even your dietary interests start to change. Why did you bring God into your 12-step programs? Because without that third party, that God part, there's you, others, God. Without that third party, you're thinking you can try to do things alone, and you can't. You know why? Because you're not alone. When you think you're alone, you're separating from God again. But if you're part of God, you're never alone. Join. That's why in your programs, I'm not pushing programs, and I know there's one person that recently sent it a note and said it sounded like I support 12-step groups, so you're never going to watch us again because you thought you don't like 12-step groups and you thought I was too biased, or I don't care. Goodbye. So you need a 12-step from resenting spiritual leader work, you know, group. I mean, it's true. Somebody was giving us a hard time about this recently. You know, I thought you were evolved great teacher, but I heard you promoting, you know, supporting 12-step groups, and I don't like those, and so you're off. And I said, great. And that's okay. Greater good. Keep following the greater, not what somebody tells you, but the greater good. Think as a we. It's called bridging when you think as a we. When it's you against them, that can't end well. But when you think as a we, it's so amazing. Everything changes. The way you would speak to the person, the vibe, the tone of your voice suddenly, you know, well, I'm trying to make a point. So let me hear. What were you saying? You see, the tone, it centers, it comes down, and they feel included. When they feel included, they're less threatened, and they come closer to you. And I say these things sometimes flippantly, but I know, man, it also involves deep pain to deal with these things. And sometimes there's too much water under the bridge. Sometimes you can say, can we create a holy relationship? Who would say no to holy relationship? They would be like, to anybody but you. And you're supposed to be okay with that? Yes, I know it hurts. Too much water under the bridge. Once they heal some of that edge, they'll see through that and come back. Your own children. once they heal the edge that they're currently defending, they come back. As the Bible says, lead them in the way of God and they'll come back. And they will. Don't sit around waiting with your, well, the Bible said, so where's my kids coming back to say, you were right, Mom? That might not happen. If you're attached to it, it probably won't happen, just to annoy you. Stay out of it. Give them to God. Give yourself to God. Give them to God and trust. Everything, really, everything is okay at the end of the day. And you're asking about adversity. And this is how dealing with adversity. It's going to happen. Jesus himself is saying, I'm completely awake. I'm in control of the whole universe. And yet, you guys are still going to have problems. Well, wait. If you're who you say you are, erase our problems. No, because if you believe in them and you're a creator made in God's image, I can't erase your creations. What I can do is encourage you to align with my consciousness where there are no problems and you won't have them. So I'm not going to come to you and fix your problems. I'm asking you to come to my consciousness, which again, joining with another, but you're joining with the symbol of the Christ. And you're not just doing that. Jesus doesn't just like, it's so amazing that everybody knows that I'm the Christ. When he's saying align with the Christ in me, he's saying, and I am you. So when you align with the Christ in me, you're aligning also with the Christ in yourself. They can't be separated. So whether it's ancient wisdom you want, as one of you put down here, ancient wisdom, freedom, soul connection, God, everything goes to a deeper level when we understand how things work. Watch the Trinity. Read any great book and watch how this shows up. Don't force it, but just observe. You're a counselor and you look at relationships and it comes to you. 3 stages. There's 3 types of relationships. There's 3 stages of relationships. Watch how this happens. Cycles of life. Birth, life, death. And then birth, around and around. The natural cycles of life. The child, the adult, the crone, or the whatever terminology you want to use for it. Those are those 3 phases. The goddess that they have sometimes 3 phases, because she's the goddess who sees the past, present, and future. The wise woman. Why? It's everywhere. You have 3 eyes, the one eye of God and 2 of duality. And Jesus says, close these eyes of duality. Let thine eye be single. Surrender your opinion and their opinion and go here. God will bring it back together. When I was a kid, I remember my hands like this in meditation. And it makes so much sense why my hands were just forming a triangle. Why I was bringing it here. Why I sometimes feel compelled when I'm praying and I say, in the name of the Father. Sometimes I'll say the Son and the Holy Spirit. But it's a Trinity that I'm creating even in the prayer. Here, sometimes I point this downwards. But whatever I feel compelled to do, the body's just following. And King David is so admired, the Star of David. Why? And why is that attributed to David? The symbol existed before, but why is that symbol, bless you, attributed to David? Because David was able to say, there's a Trinity that goes this way, which means the wide part means the majority is going home to God. So the arrow is pointing home. Here's where I want to go. Great. And yet there's this other one. And yet here's a big part of me that believes in separation and the fall. Star of David has those 2 triangles linked together. There's still 3, an upper triangle, a lower one, and you in the middle, learning I have to walk in balance. While I'm on earth, these 2 forces are going to be pulling on me. I am not going to be a triangle pointing down combined with a triangle pointing down. At the very least, I choose to walk in balance. At the very least, I know that there's a part of me that wants this and a part of me that wants this, and they're sort of pulling on me. The one in the middle has to learn to walk in balance, not listening to the voice of the ego, but taking care of your day-to-day stuff, your lower 3 triangles. Finish your schooling, eat healthy foods or whatever it happens to be. Walking in balance. And King David was great at this. He's so loved and admired of being this king, warrior, magician, and lover, a balanced being. That's your goal. But I'm telling you, ironically, your goal is not to stay that way. One day, the triangle that points down dislodges and turns and chooses nothing but God. Well, I really like the balanced one. The balanced one's good while you're on earth. But the day will come when you'll say, and David did this, I am great. I am so balanced, David. I'm a king, warrior, magician. I am the epitome of being. He's a great symbol of a great human being, a great symbol to us all, like a demigod kinds of person on earth. And yet even he says, but this isn't your goal. I surrender to the Divine Mother. His son Solomon praises and praises constantly the Holy Shekinah, the Holy Divine Mother. He calls her the embodiment of wisdom. So when you hear him talking about wisdom, he's not actually talking about a level of intellect called wisdom. When he says wisdom will rescue you from all problems, he doesn't mean just like some form of thinking process. He's saying the Divine Mother. And it's a shame in a way, but it was the tradition at the time for mystics to refer to it's almost like your divine poetry, where you describe someone like Hafiz or other poets. You're describing someone, but can you tell is that God they're talking about or a lover? And some people say, oh, themselves. You know I'm talking like Rumi, right? That's what Solomon was doing. They're using, I love you, wisdom. You're always there for me. And it sounds so nice and poetic. Go deeper. He's talking about the Divine Mother. And it's the same conversation Jesus is having when he says, I'm leaving you with a comforter. He's talking about the Divine Mother. She's the one that she gives birth. It is the female that gives birth or can give birth. Not just women that have, children that have been in or come through their womb. The divine feminine in all of us gives birth because the feminine principle is birth giving. So we all give birth, but birth to what? Ego or divinity? The Divine Mother can't give birth to the ego, but she can manifest your ego to show you how you're doing today. But when he says, I leave you with a comforter, he's talking about, I leave you with the presence of the Divine Mother. You forgot about her. You lost connection with her, but she will comfort you. She'll give you everything you need. Just call on her. Jesus did not birth the Christ in himself. He accepted the Christ awakening in himself, but it was the Mother, the Holy Spirit, that birthed it in him. You see? The Divine Mother manifested as Mary, Mother Mary, manifested it physically. And she was, in fact, immaculately conceived, which people, even theologians, we accept that that's probably a metaphor. It's very sad. People that think that they represent God don't believe in God. They think they do, but they don't. If you believe in God, you'll know that anything's possible. And a woman can get so aligned with God that she can say, you can birth anything through me. And God could say, well, I want you to birth a great meal for your friends today. Great. I want you to birth inspiration to a friend. She's doing an art project. Great. That's the Mother. But can you believe that God can say, I'm going to give you a child? Well, now, don't I need a man? That would be codependence, God could say. Can't you just do this with spirit? Just join with me. Yes, it is possible. So without ego, without body orientation, she accepted God's will to birth the Christ. And it had nothing to do with a genetic thing. Even when they check the serum and blood cellular structure on the Shroud of Turin, they find that they can trace certain things, DNA, let's call it, on the shroud. But they cannot find what would establish a male presence in the blood left over on the shroud. Isn't that strange? Because there wasn't one. And that's unique, but it's empowering. Well, yeah, but only for women, because now they know they can have fun without the guys. Is that what you got out of this story? It's all men and women can say God's will be done and anything can be done through you. No musical training and a song can come through you. See, you are the balanced, that heaven and earth, interlocking triangles, and you're in the center in your heart saying God's will be done. So you can take the triangle of God and aim it down into the earth. You can draw the presence of God into everything you do. So I love the questions. I love the comments you guys made, the things you're asking about. Keep this in mind when you say the Lord's Prayer. It's the Lord's Prayer is such a high frequency. It's too much to go into right now, but you're dealing with words, specific words that trigger certain chakras, like God's will be done. But even the terminology, what is it really saying? We'll do that, I guess, as our meditation. But how powerful the Lord's Prayer. This isn't like Jesus was going, tell us, Lord, how should we pray? That's the way they portray it. As though he's like, Our Father, who art in heaven. Let's go with that. Our Father, we love the oceans. No, hallowed be thy name. It's not like he was thinking this through. He was sharing, first of all, a prayer that's mostly already found in ancient Hebrew tradition, and it was also used by the Essenes, the people that birthed and raised Mother Mary and so on. That's another story. But it's a sacred prayer, but it's one given by the Holy Spirit to mankind. Use it, don't use it. You might be like, well, that's a traditional prayer. I didn't like, my upbringing in religion. That's fine. Understand it from a mystic level. Activation, 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 activation ends with this. Deliver us from evil. See, what I say is, be with me while I go through this. Some people imply, lead us not into temptation, which implies God would lead you into temptation. Please don't, is what the sentence means. And it means, lead me when I'm in temptation. Lead me when I would dare to believe something that isn't true, which includes your low self-worth. So the Lord's Prayer is activating chakras. It's also purifying each layer of your aura, amazingly. But the psychological wording is profound. Let's share that as a meditation. Please close your eyes and take a few centering breaths. Set aside all the stuff, all the thinking. Today's meditation, we'll just combine it like a prayer, meditation, visualization combined. If someone says to me, how do we pray? Immediately I go to the Trinity. There's a prayer of the ego, which is not bad, but there's a prayer of your humanness. I need this, I want fixed. I need money, I want health. It's going to be physical, intellectual, or emotional. And you're allowed to do that. That's primary first level prayer. Second level prayer is in your heart. When you're saying, I don't know what to pray for. Guide me and help me. That's humility, simplicity, beautiful, just beautiful energy to that. The third level of prayer is really not prayer anymore. It's communion with God, the third level of prayer. So in this, allow yourselves to absorb just the initial meaning. Our beloved Creator, Creator of all that is good. And allow your crown, third eye, and throat to open for the first few lines. Just surrender to it. Beloved Creator, whose consciousness is heaven. Sacred and holy is your name. Instead of resisting, I call forth and say, let your kingdom of consciousness, divinity, come to me. Let your kingdom come here now, in me and as me and through me. On earth, just as it is in heaven. No difference, no distinction. Absolute peace, love, abundance, wholeness. Even if I'm praying for other people, your will be done on earth means your healthiness in that person. Give us this day our daily bread, the fulfillment of all our needs, the root center. To the solar plexus, regarding the debts of ourselves or others, help us to be as forgiving as you. Releasing all debts that we have in our head, our solar plexus, meaning our thinking self, intellectual self. Lead us when we are in temptation, the navel center, emotions. Lead us when we're tempted to believe that we're something that we're not. Lead us into forgiveness. Show us how to see things clearly. I choose not to fall in temptation to believe that I or anyone else is less than you've created us to be. Guide me when I'm tempted to think otherwise. And to the heart center, and deliver us from the illusions of our ego. Release us from the veil, evil, from the veil that we have dropped over your creation. Father, Mother, God, help me to forgive myself for believing I could, would, should separate from you. This is not the truth of you, and it is not my real truth. Help me to forgive myself, these deluding thoughts. All thoughts that keep returning me to this place of being separate. And help me to forgive myself for seeing anything but pure light in all of your children. Help me when I'm in a state of temptation to think that their actions define who they are. Their words define who they are. It's only depictions of their amnesia. For yours is the kingdom and the power and the glory. Only your truth is true. Only your reality is real. Help us just to release ourselves from all these other misbeliefs. I call in the Holy Spirit in this purified, sanctified presence that I am. I've asked to open up all my centers, purify all the layers of my aura. I stand in the light of God and I call upon your presence to fill me, Holy Spirit. Even if I have doubts and misbeliefs, I give those to you, completely empty and open. In this void, let an explosion of light and trust and inspiration take place instead of history's chaos that exploded in the void. Let your presence, the womb, not of darkness, surround me. Let a new womb of the mother surround me, my life, and the universe, a womb of light. And in this place, I invite all my brothers and sisters to rise to a new dimension of belief systems, a new dimension of identity. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. Just slowly stretch out, come back into the room. Is this making good sense? Trinity, it's everywhere. Jesus says to the Apostle Peter, Peter, do you love me? Yes, Master, I do. Peter, yes? Do you love me? Yes, I do. You already asked me that, Jesus. You know, the wine getting to this guy or something. Peter, yes, Master, do you love me? Yes. Why did he ask him 3 times? Because he's sanctifying all parts of himself by making him say yes 3 times. But he also said it 3 times because you're going to deny me 3 times. And I'm already making you vow to be with me and love me 3 times. Why? Because you're going to go through the motions of this, and I'm already purifying you, the karma of it. Isn't that amazing? See? It's beautiful. It's hard for people to understand how this works. It's everywhere if you learn to allow yourself to see it. It's there. Why did he ask him 3 times? Why did you? It's beautiful. He was preemptively taking him through the healing process, which who would know that in the moment? There must be a reason. It's fantastic. What did you hear or learn today that makes the most sense for you and to you? Anybody want to share? Yes.
Start the day. This is just something to try. I immediately say, "Good morning, sun," which means everyone.
Yeah.
And it just puts me on the plane.
Start the day. Yes.
Better.
You've heard of the saying, you woke up on the wrong side of the bed, right? I always say, wake up on the right side of your head. Get your mind in the right consciousness. Start everything with God. The Lord's Prayer, your own, anything that's saying, here I am, guide me. I've tried leading my own life. I tried making all my own decisions outside of, from my head and from what I was told works and doesn't work and, marriages and so on. Just, I don't know anymore. And I don't know is empowering. First there is a mountain, then there is no mountain, then there is. How many is that? 3! Again! First there is a mountain, which means I think I know what I'm talking about. I know what's right in this world. Then I know nothing. And then there is a mountain. It comes back to that. It's a new me born after I go through the dark night of the soul. After I go through that second phase, which is not an evil phase, it's a testing phase. Whatever you think you are, get ready. We're going to find out in the second stage if that was real or not. Whatever was, you carry to the third stage. Whatever wasn't, you get to learn from and take and awaken in the third stage. But this is the cycles of life. They are 3, like everything else. Anyone else? Yes?
Can you define it? How would I put the Star of David with us?
The Star of David
Middle,
and us in the middle, the choosers. Choose whom ye will serve, God or manna, the upper, one triangle pointing this way and that way. It gets confusing for people that are into yin and yang because they tend to think of one of those triangles or essences is yin and one's yang. But it's still true. But yin and yang is talking about the heavenly forces and earthly, not God and man. It's a little different. And most people don't understand that. All right, we're going to take up our collection. Thank you very much. Our ushers are going to help us out. At our center, I'm very grateful that we have just such amazing people, volunteers that play the roles of ushers and do so many things here. That's the 3D, taking care of the 3D part. The donations, the staff, the volunteers, that's, a trinity of grounding this while we're still in bodies and sitting in buildings and all that. So take your love offering and hold it to your heart and or your beautiful loving intention. Share with us your love and support. And if it takes the form of donations, that's fantastic. If not, send the love and support anyway in your mind. Hold that. Know that already it's an energy and it's already multiplying, bringing you good back into your life. If you don't know the prayer, it's in front of you on your papers or it's posted online. Together, please. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Thank you. And thank you so much always for your love and support, folks. It'll only take them a minute to do that, then we'll do our closing prayer. But while they're doing that, a couple quick things. Do know that we had built, thanks to your support and donations and labor, we have a grotto that was built out here. It's really beautiful. Lots of prayer and energy going there. But if you'd like to go and sit, just go and there's a bench in front of you. Go and sit. Beautifully fragrant roses there as well. Don't take any of them. But beautiful, beautiful sight there. But there's ribbons in the foyer here in the entry in a basket. You can take a ribbon, write a prayer on it and go tie it in a knot to that. If you tie it in a half knot, it'll be blowing through the parking lot tomorrow. So tie it in a full knot. It'll secure it there, and we'll leave it there for quite some time, okay? Just write whatever you want to, put out there. And it could be prayer for someone else and a prayer for healing, just open-ended. Just be with me, Divine Mother. Whatever you want to write, that's your call, okay? You might think of it as the green ribbons more for healing, or prosperity. You might be thinking of one color represents to you more spiritual attunement. Go with what you feel, and there's, I think, pens in there as well. So if you would like to do that, we'd love to have you do it. I would also like to recommend, this is strange, I don't mention my books and things like that a lot, but yes, I've written books. You can get those online or in the bookstore here. But what I'm suggesting, I noticed we talked a bit about counseling today and relationships and all that. If you see a counselor, have a friend that's a counselor, you're a counselor, please gift yourself or them my book on creating fulfilling relationships, or Dark Night of the Soul, so that you're passing the word to these folks that are taught academically one thing, to let them know the spiritual views of these things. So consider doing that. It's whatever it is, $20, and you'll change their life and the lives of everybody that they're dealing with. Just consider that. I would say relationships or Dark Night of the Soul would be a great one, depending on which one you feel your counselor or that you most often work with people. Obviously, both of them are common topics, okay? And the last few things, remember, we have a crystal bed here. It's in our healing room, the yurt here. Anytime, you guys can book a session in 20-minute increments, 20 or 40 minutes, 60 minutes. I would say definitely do at least 40, but it's otherworldly. It's just astounding what people have happen there. We have testimonials, just so many people seeing all kinds of videos, free, hundreds and hundreds of free videos. So check them out on whatever topics are dear to you. And God bless those of you online who keep talking about watching videos that were recorded 5 years ago and saying it's still applied to you today. I love that you guys are into this and you really soak it in. Tickets are still available. Daughters of Heaven Conference. Best conference that's ever been. It's about 8 weeks away, 7 weeks away. But if you're going to come from out of town and need an Airbnb, we have a last few rooms that we're connected with someone that works with us on this, a last few rooms available at one of the Airbnbs that are being rented out for this. So you might want to decide soon. Don't get to it later. Decide soon. Otherwise, you'll just be going to the hotels for $800 a night or whatever it is. And I have a new class we're going to do first time here, and that's our Search for God, which includes a lot of the background on Edgar Casey's work and work of many mystics and so on. So that's our Search for God. That'll be August 24th, 12 to 3. It's here in the room, also online. And lastly, we have a brief meeting once per month for anyone that would like to become, and I'm only going to announce this one more time because we have several. We're looking for volunteers that would like to be part of our workshops. In other words, if you want to be a volunteer for some of our events, that's different from the volunteers that come here to do labor on the yard and trim trees. This is specially for events. We're going to get a couple more people. What you do is you sign up to be an event volunteer. It's really simple. You get to attend for free whatever events you're assigned to. That's kind of cool, especially if you can't afford. But even if you can't, just to volunteer is great. But you can attend. The only thing in return, just you follow what they need you to do, whoever it is. I need you to work the door. I need you to help usher people to seats. That's all. It sounds simple, but sometimes, somebody volunteers to be in the room to help with an event, and their guides told them to lay on the hammock outside and sleep for a couple hours. And it's like, we don't have any volunteers in here. And then if we say, well, what were you thinking? Oh, you guys aren't very loving. It's so weird. It comes back on us somehow. So we need people that'll actually do the job assigned. In return, you get to attend free and be of service. Okay? Please stand for a closing prayer. That meeting's going to follow right after our service here. It's in the meeting room back there. So you can go in there and sign up. Thank you. How's everyone feel? Made sense today? Worked well for you, integrating? Good. Cool stuff about the Lord's Prayer, huh? And the triangles in all things. Yeah, isn't that great? If ever your partner says, honey, I think we need to introduce a third person as a triangle, I want you to say this: I agree. And I've already decided who it's going to be. Why not? You know? Nice. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. It's absolutely true. Wherever we go, God is. I am. We are. And so it is. Peace be with you.